And so what was that like in terms of going from kind of the material supplier side to the end user? Kind of what was that
Yeah,
how
that's
was
a
that
great
transition?
question. Yeah, it's so different being on the other side of the supply chain. One thing that I learned is, well, because I'd only been working in titanium forever, and so when I got to SpaceX, they give me every metallic you could think of. So aluminium sheet, and then some Monel and nickel billet and things like that. And so, but to me, it's all the same, right? It's all material science, it's all metallurgy, it's the same, it's just a different composition. And so what the other thing that I realized was I'm dealing with the same people that I've been dealing with as just from the other side of the curtain, if you like. And then so that relationship was very interesting. People who used to be my customers when I was at the titanium company and now my suppliers when I'm at SpaceX. And so you got to see the whole thing from a different lens. And I think it's great because you understand all the challenges that suppliers go through. Whereas when you're a customer, you're the one who's pounding on people. Where am I going to get my material? Why isn't it on my dock? Why isn't it in the condition that I want? And now you know every single thing that happens. So that level of understanding is really helpful.
Yeah, and I imagine too, as you are kind of you've gone like you've sat in the shoes of material supplier. So when issues come up, when there are challenges, when things don't come exactly as you expected, you kind of know the right person to talk to, or like how to
You
translate it
know
in a
exactly
way.
the person to talk to or exactly the person to call or email. We have them on speed dial, send them a text and say, hey, what's going on here? So that's another thing that I think is really helpful, the role of a quality engineer, if you can put that hat on so that you're approaching it from not just the manufacturing side, but the quality side as well, which is something that we don't think about, especially if you're a manufacturing engineer, because you just want it to take place versus if you're a quality engineer and then you know that there are certain steps and things that have to go through and it doesn't happen overnight. But if you're a customer, you want those results fast and you want them accurate and you want them overnight or
Yeah,
same day.
and that's especially the case with additive, as there's so many process variables even in the machine, but then kind of getting the right powder, getting the right feedstock, getting the right wire, whatever it may be, and then all the next metallurgy steps that happens to actually make a part and do that repeatedly. And I think that is so interesting in the additive sense that we're still doing a lot of figuring out of what makes a quality part. How do you measure it? How do you document it? How do you do it repeatedly? And I think a lot of companies like the ones you've mentioned are really blazing a new path on that front.
Yeah, but I think it is important that we look at sort of standardization, qualification, certification as a community and not as a bunch of individuals,
Mhm.
because I can see that there's benefit to working together collaboratively rather than trying to do everything yourself. For one thing, it's very expensive to do all that testing by yourself. And another thing is, do you really want to waste your time reinventing the wheel when someone else has already got these results? And so that's why, I think organizations like the ASTM F42 Committee on Additive are a lot faster.
Absolutely. And I think I joke with we've had Element on the on the podcast before, a lot of the doing a lot of that materials testing, and so they don't mind that Boeing and SpaceX and everyone and their brother sends them the same titanium dog bones every month to do some of the testing on. And it is one of those things where all the you're getting the same result over and over again, but it's just different walls and different names on the packages that you get this information from. And as organizations like you mentioned, ASTM and others are building that, I think it just unlocks that kind of first step that makes it so expensive for many companies to jump into the supply chain, to if you have to go through and qualify each machine and each material every time.
Yeah, okay. So that is so I'd say for the traditional manufacturing world, we already have that data. We have those
Mhm.
thousands of data points over 75 plus years in publication like MMPDS. We already know that stuff. For AM, we don't know it, and people are generating it. But if we combine them, we would have, several more thousand of those
Yeah.
data points where we can little bit more within, I don't know, some kind of error band, be comfortable that if we repeat this over and over and over again, we're going to get these results. Now, I don't think any two processes are quite the same. So maybe there's some scatter there, but certainly we are doing the work. We are generating it. So why not share that? And then people are going to say, because that's the way I maintain profitability. And of course, for a machine manufacturer, that's what they're trying to do at the end of the day, is to sell a machine. But actually, maybe the answer is you're trying to sell the solution to the customer's problem in the best way possible. And by sharing some of this data up front and being, a bit more open about it, that's where the collaboration that I'm talking about comes into. But that's also where we don't have to waste a lot of time, effort, energy, and money, let's say. I know no one likes talking about money, but it's an unfortunate part of life. But those things are expensive. And so, it's not just the cost of the tests, it's the cost of your time. Your time is valuable. You could be doing something else, or you could be investigating some other process, or finding out something a bit more interesting rather than going over the same bunch of data over and over again.
Absolutely.